up? What's going on? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I am Amber, and if you're not, what's up, guys? So I have a few, maybe a slightly different appearance now here on YouTube. My name is officially amberpacholok, so no longer Beauty Boss Amber, but don't worry, that is the only thing that has changed on my channel, just my name. Everything else will remain the same. So for today's video, we're talking Fenty Beauty. I'm sure everyone has seen it. You've seen all the large influencers with their concealers and their powders, but I just have one question for you.
What is your Fenty Beauty shade?
Because let me tell you, picking out this concealer, your girl was on the struggle bus. I believe it's a good problem to have, just simply because I know as far as us as women of color, black women, we ain't used to having so many shades to choose from. And so I think we're so used to trying, oh, I have to find the perfect shade, At least that's what I did, because your girl struggled. Even with my experience in makeup artistry and color correction and a consumer, I struggled to find my shade. And then finally I realized, you know what? You can wear more than one shade, so there's no like one perfect fit. It's just going to depend on your skin tone, winter time, if you're darker or not. So we're gonna go ahead and get into it. What we're gonna do today is I'm going to put on the Fenty concealer. I have been wearing it, I've been testing it out, and we'll do a little bit of a wear test so that way you guys can kind of see how it wears and what it looks like on my face. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to stick with everything as Fenty as far as the complexion products. So we're gonna go in with the Pro Filt'r foundation. Okay, so this is in the shade 400. My first bottle that I had and completed was in the shade 420, and the reason, there's nothing wrong with 420. I can wear shade 420 in the foundation and shade 400. I just feel like when I bought shade 420, it was over the summertime, so I was a little bit deeper. Let me pull you guys in. So when I got shade 420 last summer, I was deeper, and then when I went to repurchase this back in September, when I finished up the 420 bottle, I thought, it might be a touch too deep for me right now. So this is the shade that I'm rocking with. I know quite a few of you use me for color reference, so 400, 420. And if you're not familiar with this foundation, it is definitely a soft matte medium coverage. If you don't like matte, I don't necessarily think you will like the foundation. And if you don't like full coverage, you might not like this. It's so funny because when I went into Sephora, it was on a Friday after I got off of work, so I had already worked 9 hours, and I never tell anybody that, you know, I'm a makeup artist, because one, I don't want to make any of the employees nervous, because I know that could be a little nerve-wracking, and two, I'm always open to listen to other people's opinions to see what they think, because I don't know it all, you know what I mean? Very, very open-minded. And it was so funny because typically now I don't ever ask for any help. However, I was just a little bit flabbergasted by all the shades, so I just asked the girl what she thought, and she's, you know, oh, sit down, let me do something, let me put a little on your face. And I was like, this is not what I came for, but whatever. So I let her do her thing, and I never judge people off of their makeup just simply because, you know what I mean, that's your preference. All I will say is, she was super cute, very, very sweet, very sweet, very pretty girl. Just our makeup styles were very, very different. So long story long, she told me that, she said, no offense, but I think your foundation shade looks a little orange. And I was like, orange? And I was like, okay, well, that's interesting. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm super oily, and I've had this foundation on for 9 hours, but okay, to each his own. So then she starts color matching me with the concealer, and she gave me the shade 380. Now when I looked online, I was looking at the kind of the descriptions for the colors, and then also when I got there, I took a couple of photos. I'll make sure I add those up here too. So I picked up 420, 400, and 390. Those were the shades that I felt would work best for me and my complexion. I know with Fenty Beauty, they said like if you're a shade 420, then concealer 420 is going to work for you, and so on, because it complements you. It's not going to be the exact same color as the foundation, but it's gonna work with it. And so 420 for me definitely wouldn't work because it was a little too deep and it would have made my under eyes look too dark. And so I assumed either 400 or 390. She gave me 380, and I was kind of like, I don't know, girl. She's like, oh, well, it'll be a little bright, where I don't mind myself looking, I obviously want to look awake, but I'm not here for that super insta fleeky highlight. Like, that's just not my gig. And of course, if you like it, you do it, that's you. But for me, That's not my thing. Long story long, she gave me $380. The next day, I'm trying it on. I'm asking Marilla what he thinks. He goes, I don't even know what you're doing listening to the people in the Sephora. They never know what they're talking about. I was like, Lo, shut up. That's not nice. But it was definitely way too light. And so I went in and got the shade 410. Now, when I was talking to another girl, I was just, you know, trying to see what she thought. Because when I came in, I had it on and she said that she thought it was a little too light. Especially, and maybe I didn't give the girl a good description. Now, if I was doing like a super beat face, then yes, but y'all know for the most part I'm a concealer and powder kind of girl, so I settled on the shade 410 because 400 was a little too orange. Like I said, 420 was too deep and 490 was even a little too orange. So we're gonna put on the shade 410. And this for me is going to be a spot on shade. Now I'm going to do one side with the brush and then one side with my sponge. I do like blending this out with my sponge better. I don't know, I just feel like it distributes the product a little bit better. So as far as the consistency of this, it's very creamy. I'm just going back over with a sponge because I feel like a sponge is going to blend this out a little bit better. It's very creamy. It's easy to blend out. I don't have any kind of scent or anything that I've noticed with this. The applicator is very nice as well, and you get a lot on the applicator. So less is more. Less is definitely going to be more with this because it's going to go a long way for you. Now, as far as under eyes, here's the thing. I feel like if you do have maybe drier skin or drier under eye area, I do feel like you can use this. However, we're gonna get to the powder in just a second. I think if you do have dry under eye or dry skin, don't use their powder because I felt like when she put the powder on me, she put a little too much, which was no problem, but it is it seemed very drying. It doesn't feel drying, but when I got close up and looked at it, it looked dry. It's like the powder really adheres to the concealer. So just be mindful of that when you're using the powder because I feel like it really did. It just kind of like, it sucked it up. It stuck right onto it like glue. Alright, I feel like these concealers are extremely brightening. I don't know what the formula is for this stuff, but it brightens your under eyes like no other. Next up for the powder. Pull you in a little bit closer. So I did not get the shade Banana because I felt like Banana was too light for me. I do like yellow powders. My favorite powder to use is the Sacha Buttercup powder. It is very yellow, which I'm fine with. Fenty's Banana is not yellow. It's almost like a very pale yellow, and that's the one that she put on me, and I felt like it was a little bit too brightening. So I'm gonna go in with the powder in Honey, which let me put a little bit out. This is what it looks like here. And I'm just going to take my Real Techniques setting brush, and a little bit's gonna go a long way. I'm making sure that I tap off because I don't want to put too much of this on. So I like to start further down first and then just kind of pat the powder on. Who is this? If you are a baker, you will love this powder because along with the concealer and the powder together, they are both very brightening. And I think that's another reason why I wasn't the biggest fan of the Banana powder, because I feel like these concealers on their own, they're just very brightening. So with a very light concealer and then with the powder that's brightening as well, for me it was just a little bit too much. And then I'm going to just take the rest of this with my powder brush. I've been using this EcoTools powder brush for over a year now. This thing has not failed me. So if you're looking for an affordable, good, all over powder brush, this is a really good one. I don't think I've talked about this one at all. So we're just gonna set the rest of it. Now the thing with this Fenty foundation, in the wintertime, I don't set it unless I know I'm gonna be working or if I'm gonna be doing a lot. If you're dry skin or normal skin and you're wearing this, don't set it. Like I said, I'm oily, so if I can get by without setting it in the wintertime, I feel like if you set it and you are dry, it's gonna be patchy and you're probably not gonna like it. I don't really know too many people with drier skin that do like this. I know when it first came out, a lot of my clients were asking me about it, and I was straight up with them. I told them, you know, I saw a girl in the store with dry skin trying it on and it didn't look good. So that's just my 2 cents. Alright, so we have the powder, concealer, foundation on. I'm not going to do anything fancy with my eyes today because I just have to go run some errands. But let me finish up the rest of my face, and then when I get back, I'll show you guys what we're looking like. I told you, nothing innovative for my look today. This is what we're looking like. So on my eyes, I used everything that I used on my face. So basically here, my new favorite blush, and this is like, I'm using this for my blush and my bronzing. Excuse me. This is just what I'm using to add dimension, because I don't want to say that I'm contouring, and I definitely don't want to say that I'm bronzing, because my Morphe bronzer has just been way too red for me. So for adding dimension to my face, this is my absolute favorite right now. This is MAC and Swiss Chocolate, and it is just perfection. It adds dimension without making me too cool, without making me too red, without making me look flat. I love this. I'm going to be doing a video on blush really soon, especially for women of color. Did one a while ago, but it's time for an updated version. So I have this on my cheekbones, in my crease, and on my waterline. And then for just a little bit of glow, my Laura Mercier glow, I have this on my cheeks and all over my lids. And then for lips, we're going to keep with Fenty. We're going to use the Fussy lip gloss. And that's the finished look. Now, do you want to bring your attention to something? I'm going to zoom you in, because I feel like even with the tiniest amount of powder that I put on, my under eyes look dry, and I'm not someone that has super dry under eyes. Hopefully you guys can kind of see, and it is kind of creasing and settling a little bit. I just want to be honest and let y'all know that. So I will be sure to check in and let you guys see what it's looking like later. Okay guys, just wanted to pop in and show you what I'm looking like before I head outside. It's currently 2:07 right now. Let me zoom you on in to see if maybe you can get a better look of my under eyes. I don't know if you'll be able to tell on camera, but I noticed that my under eyes look just a little bit drier than they typically do, and I don't have dry under eyes or dry skin, so just wanted to note that for you. But everything else, I love how it all looks together. It looks very, very soft, the way that I like it. Okay guys, really quick check-in. It is currently 4:03, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but right here I've got some serious creasing. I don't typically experience this much creasing with the concealer, and honestly, when I have worn it the other days, it didn't crease like this on me, but I don't know. I know the other days when I used it, I used my Kat Von D Lock-It Brightening Powder, and that one is not as drying as on me. This is just on me. It's not as drying as the Fenty is up under my eyes, but I just want to show you. I don't even know if you guys will be able to see. I'm creasing way more than I typically do, so I just wanted to point that out to you. So on the flip side of things, once this stuff is on, it is on. Like, I haven't had any issues with it transferring or fading or anything like that. Also, I didn't put on primer. I don't wear primer, not at all. I feel like when I wear primer, I end up looking way oilier than I typically do. So especially being that I already did my skincare, for me, just as long as I moisturize in the morning, do my skincare, I'm good to go. And then the Fenty foundation is matte. So yeah, this is what my face is looking like. I feel like I look very healthy. These concealers are so pigmented. I will maybe check in one more time, and if not, I'll see you when I close out. Alright guys, it is 8 o'clock. I took off my earrings, so I was about to hop in the shower, and I was like, hold on, I need to go close out a video, so let's talk about it. I want to zoom you in so that you can see my face. I have not done any blotting all day long. This is what your girl is looking like. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about the foundation. Recap, I love the foundation. This is the perfect foundation for me because it's a soft matte, it's not full coverage, and it looks like skin. Yes, 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 check. Next up, Concealer. Okay, so my feelings about the concealer, finding your concealer shade, it can be tough. It can be really, really tough. This is the first time that I've ever had a little bit of a struggle trying to figure out what my shade in a product was. So just be aware of that. Just kind of gauge it around two, like let's say if you know you're somewhere between the 400 and the 410 mark, just kind of look in that area to see which one's going to be better for you. Obviously, if you're on the warmer tone, you're going to want to go for a warmer, and if you're on the cooler tone, you're going to go cooler. Easier said than done. However, I did manage to find a shade, and I do like the shade that I have. This is in the shade 410, and it's smack dab in the middle for me. It's not too cool, but it's not too orangey either, so love the shade. Now the formula of this, the formula is interesting. I don't want to say it's not. At first, I thought it reminded me of the Beauty Bakery concealer. I wasn't a fan of those, but it's not quite like that. It has a little bit, it's like a gel, creamy consistency, if you will. It goes on easy, it blends out well, and these are super, super pigmented. The brightening aspect of this is insane. I feel like this concealer, as far as like the brightening, this is probably the most brightening concealer I've ever used. Now, as far as how this sits on my face, like I said, I don't have super dry under eyes. I'm very, very oily, and I personally feel like I just look kind of crepey. It looks really, really dry under there, and I'm gonna chop that up to the powder. So I'm not gonna say that I don't like the concealer. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you guys. For me, it's just a concealer. I didn't see anything that was truly innovative. I didn't see anything that took my breath away. I still honestly prefer my favorites, which are the Becca Aqualuminous Concealer and the Kat Von D Cream Concealer. No, the Kat Von D Lock-It Concealer Cream. Those two are my all-time favorites. This did not trump that. It just didn't. But again, is it bad? No. But was it anything that I feel like is innovative you need to rush out and get? No, it's just good. So kudos to that. And of course, you know, all the shades, cool. Now, as far as the powder goes, here's what I have come to terms with the powder. When I wore this concealer with my Kat Von D, this is the Kat Von D brightening powder in golden, it didn't look like this under the eyes. In fact, I liked it much better with this powder. I think that this powder is just a touch drying for the under eye area. Now, I don't know if it's just for me, it's because of the time of the year, because it is a little bit cooler. However, I'm not a fan of this powder up under my eyes, just for the simple fact that I feel like it makes me look a little bit just dry and cakey, and I don't have dry skin. I felt like it kind of settled in my fine lines, which no matter what, by the end of the day, no matter what makeup I have on, once we start working on hour 7, 8, 9, everything's gonna start shifting. But I did notice that this concealer kind of started shifting on me a little bit earlier in the game than I was expecting. Wanted to put that information out there for you because I feel like it's super important. I'm sorry if you hear loud noise. Merlot's downstairs and he's making steak and doing God knows what down there. Okay, now for the powder, I don't like the powder up under my eyes. However, the powder all over the face, yes, it gives you a very, very smooth filter-like look. It really is very, very soft and finely milled. And again, I'm in the shade Honey. Will I use this powder under my eyes? I won't use it under my eyes, just simply because I feel like even with the tightest, just the lightest hand, and I just use a fluffy setting brush, so I can only imagine how this would be if I used like a sponge or a beauty blender. When the girl used it on me in Sephora, she used a brush, and I felt like she maybe packed on a little bit too much, but even still, like I said, with just the little bit, just the tiny touch of powder I had on under there, it still got a little cakey for me. So the powder under the eyes, no, but the powder all over the face, I ain't mad at it. I feel like my face looks pretty darn good for someone who has not done any blotting all day long. That is going to wrap up the video. Down below, you already know what to do. I want to hear your thoughts on it all. I want to know if you wear the foundation, tell me your shade and your skin type. If you have the concealer, if you have the powder, do you think the powder is drying on you? What shade are you in? Did it look drying on me? I want to hear all of your thoughts. You guys know the deal. Keep it simple, and I will see you in our next video. Peace.